You can't hear me, can you? You can't hear me. Hello. Yeah, hello. Yes, I know. I do apologize, JJXB. That was no good. Just trying to get up this bloody Carmageddon. I want to make it embiggened. It's weird, it's got all these sort of square aspect ratios. If anybody knows how to make OBS actually record full screen video, I'd really like to hear that. That would be useful. Otherwise I sort of have to keep trying to cheat. I can probably try to do a cheat. Let's see. Transform. Reset. Do that, and let's do that. I just want to play the bloody game. Why is it so much to ask? Okay, that'll do. That's enough messing around. Faffing. Unnecessary faffing. Okay, let's do this. I did like the original Carmageddon, so I'm obviously jumped at the chance to play this one. C Armageddon. C++. Okay. Okay. Same old, same old. So, Watcher. Gregory. How's it going, sirs? I thought it'd be nice just to play some games, and I was just going to hang out and play games, and I thought, well, why not turn on the old streaming, just in case if anyone's around, you can jump in and say hello, that's all. Come on, look at this loading time. Yeah, I'm tired, Gregory. I'm tired. T-Y-R-E-E-D. Tired.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
I'm not sure on the control, so I'm just going to figure out as I go along, I guess. Whoa! I remember in the original Carmageddon freaking out like that, and if I'm not mistaken, there is a kind of Super Bowl place here. Hold backspace to repair. I've just noticed it's humans as well, not zombies. There we go. It's through here, watch this. Come on, where is he? It used to be easier to hit each other when you were doing it in VGA res. Oh, nice. Oh. Nice work. Right, let's get back on the course. You're gonna make a robot?
Yeah, because they found one of the pieces to make it.
Good. How many pieces do you need for a robot? That's a nice nut and bolt. Show it to the people, at boys and girls on YouTube. And is that all the pieces you need for a robot, or do you need any more?
I don't know.
Okay. I have to moderate my play because I have a young audience next to me. So now the game has changed a totally different dynamic where I can't get squishies. What did you get then? What did you eat?
I got something from the harvest place.
Oh, that's a scary witch's finger.
It's just a dead finger.
A dead finger. Oh dear.
It's a toy.
A toy.
Dead finger.
I wish I had a dead finger toy.
And I have a rabbit keyring.
A rabbit keyring. You are a very lucky young man. I'm sure everybody's going to want one of those now. Oh.
What happens if you move the car into people? What happens?
You hurt the people.
Does it kill them?
Yeah, but it's not nice, is it?
Does it make blood come out of them?
Yes.
So they die?
Yes, but it's not a children's game.
Why?
It's not a real game. You're supposed to ponk the other cars.
And then what are you supposed to do?
If you can ponk the other cars, you can win. Because you crush them. There's one. See? Watch. Ah, close. Ouch.
Did he
Oh no! He put my car in there too. Oh!
Why did the kite set on fire?
Because we crushed him.
What happens if you crushed him?
Oh no!
What happened?
We missed one. There we go.
Did you kill the other cars?
Yep. Because they're baddies.
Are you supposed to kill baddies?
Oh no, I didn't want to go down that way.
What happened?
There's a lot of exploding objects down there. Now I know that they're there. We won't go there again. Right, let's look at the map.
Did you crash
I did.
that? You're crashing it.
I know. I wasn't paying attention.
That's
Now there's a bad guy behind me. There's a bad guy behind me.
He's coming. He crushed it.
Ah, do you think this car's cool?
Yes.
Is this the car that you want when you grow up?
Yes. But what kind of
Ah.
car is it?
What car is it? Red car.
Or is it a mini car?
A Mini? It's not a Mini. Where's the other cars?
There.
Okay. There we go. Let's see if we can get to them. They're hurt.
Daddy,
Yeah.
you killed someone on the track. Now you killed a baddie. It said jam sandwich.
Oh
What does
no!
jam sandwich mean?
I don't know. Don't you like jam sandwiches?
Yes.
So they're good things then.
Yeah.
Oh, don't go there. That's water.
So, can that make you it's on fire?
Yes, absolutely. Where did it go?
Does it kill you?
Could kill you. I think you could drown, maybe.
Well, what happens if you go in it?
Okay, look.
You push him in. You pushed him in. You pushed him in.
Yeah, but I think you can be in the water. He's gonna come out again. We're gonna get him.
Are you supposed to kill all of the baddies to win?
You are. Or you can complete the race. Should we find him?
You're
Where is he?
inside the water. What happened? There he is.
Ah, there he is. Hey, Robert, this is an awesome game. You funded it. It's just like the original, but better. It's just like a remake of the original, but with better graphics than the remade originals, if you know what I mean. Because remember, the originals had patches and stuff to make them work with 3DFX Voodoo 2 and stuff. This is definitely a nice remix. Ah, ha.
Did you explode your car?
Woohoo! We won.
Why does it say no?
There, we did it. No skip tutorials.
So do you get to choose your car you want?
I think so. I chose the red car.
You have to choose which level you can have.
You can. So, Mr. Robert, what were you up to today? Anything interesting, or just same old, same old? Same old, same old, same old. Tashita is steelworthy. Wreck this car and add it to your garage. Oh, it says sometimes you can add things.
Are you going to play a new round?
I'm going to play a new round. But it's not really a game for kids.
Why?
Because it has blood in it. Isn't scary. Is blood scary?
No.
Could be worse, Rob. It could be worse. So JXB's saying this is a remake of the remake. Interesting. I'm kind of trying to figure what we're supposed to be doing. Ah, there they are. Yeah!
Was that a baddie car? Was that baddie?
Yeah. They're all baddie cars.
What happens if you kill the police?
There's no police.
Why is there no police?
Because it's not set in the real world. Do you think these people should go away so they don't get hurt? Is that why it's dangerous to play in the road?
Yes.
Do you play in the road? That's good. No! I remember when I used to play the previous ones though. I think Carmageddon 1 was like 2.5D, wasn't it? It wasn't really 3D. And then Carmageddon 2 was definitely 3D, but it just wasn't great. It was alright, but it just lost something about the handling of the cars.
Daddy, did you know there's a baddie behind you?
I did.
He's right behind you.
He's really right behind me.
Is that what you
JJXB,
need to
no
do?
way was it? Was it 100% 3D, was it? The sprites were all like, the characters, like the zombies are all sprites. But Carmageddon 2 definitely was. I will definitely agree with you on Carmageddon 2. Andrew, Mr. Dalton, sir. Yeah, Robert, I get that. It's more fun though destroying the other cars, right? Doing like this and trying to aim it up so it... Oh, there's a bomb there. Push him into the mine. Whoa!
Are you going to explode the bomb so the car accepts some bite?
Got him. Oh, that was close.
There's a car in front.
There he is. Gonna push him into the wall.
But it doesn't accept him on fire.
Not yet, but it will.
What happens,
Alright, Rob, see you in a bit.
What happens if you crash into the wall?
Yeah, JJXB, but it's very different 3D, right? And having the PEDs non-3D, to me, doesn't make it a 3D game. It's like Duke Nukem or something. But there was definitely... Oh... Definitely when they went to Carmageddon 2, it was a proper 3D that could be used with a proper Voodoo FX card with 3D Accelerate. Every single thing in it is 3D. Oh no. His car, I'm trying to push his car, but it's got equal power. Oh no, what's happened to me? He's putting he's freezing me.
How did he freeze you?
I don't know, he's got like freezing powers. So let's see, how do we get powers?
So, does your car have powers?
I don't know, I don't even know how I know if my car's got powers. If you could have a car with any power, what power would you have in your car?
Freeze.
What does it have? Freeze.
Freeze people.
And how would freeze work? Tell me, how would you work it?
So it has a button.
Yeah.
And you press the button, then it freezes another cars in my way.
Do you want to watch a special program? Because Uncle Andrew says that you need to watch a special program called Knight Rider.
What is Knight Rider?
Oh, it's a very good program. It's about a car.
Is it a game?
I don't think there was a game, although I think there must have been a game, but not that I remember. But you would like it a lot. It's about a car who's very special.
Is it the bestest car ever?
It is the bestest car ever. And it's not only just a normal car, it can talk. 2 Windows Knight Rider games. Crikey. How have I not heard of a Knight Rider game? Surely Knight Rider, like Windows, was invented years and years and years after Knight Rider was a thing, wasn't it?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
I think you're supposed to go. You see that red dot on the map?
Is that where you're supposed to go?
Yeah, I think so. Let's try to play it the other way. Do you see that red line? I think that's your map. Yes, it is.
Is that where you got to go?
Yeah. What? Checkpoints. That's what we're going for. Ah!
Did you crash the car?
I did. Yes, I did. They came out in the early 2000s.
How do you make cars set on fire?
How do you make them set on fire? I think you just got to crash into them, really. Like that.
So do you need to crash them into the wall really hard?
Yeah.
So
Crash them into the wall. Crash them into the... anywhere.
What happens if the baddies crash you into the wall?
Yeah, bad things happen.
So does it set the whole place on fire?
Come on! You can do it! Do you want to do that in real life with a car?
How do you play the game?
How do you play the game? I don't know really. I think you have to get the checkpoint.
Yeah, but what buttons do you press to move the car?
Oh, W, A, S and D. I'm going to need a bigger run-up. A way bigger run-up. So what did you eat for your dinner today? Where did you go?
To the harvester.
Oh, a harvester. Mmm.
It's right next to Asda's.
What did they give you? What food did you order?
Pork meatballs.
Meatballs.
It's pork meatballs.
Pork meatballs. Delicious. What else did you get? Did you get salad and pasta? Are you sure? They normally let you go and get as much salad and bread and pasta.
I didn't want it.
You didn't want it.
I had other things.
What else did you have then?
I had chips.
Chips. Chips are the best. How many chips can you eat? I can eat 100 chips.
I can eat thousands.
Yeah, hit the unlimited salad bar with the red devil sauce and the onion bits. The little onion bits. They're my favourite.
Daddy, why does it have one at the top and 0, 0, 0, 0 at the bottom? Is that your score?
Yeah,
So if you get 8 points, you won the whole level.
you do. I think that's my favourite part in the harvester. I rarely really want my main. I'm kind of full by the time I get my main because I could just have that salad. And there was a point, I don't know if you can still do this, where you can just pay to have just the salad bar. The only problem is, I guess, if it's say like £7 for the salad.
So, Daddy, you need to go all the way up.
I know, yeah, I definitely, I don't know where the target is. It's somewhere, it's like here on the map, but I think it's in the building. I should drive around, see if there's a lift. Let's see, is there a lift? So the problem is, if your burger's like £10, you might just say, well, I'll just pay the burger because then I get the salad included anyway. So I think it's clearly done like that on purpose. I was in a Wetherspoons today and I had scampi. $3.79 is just salad. I mean, that's bargain, isn't it? I should have gone. What's a meal for $4.99? What's the $4.99 meal you can get there, Andrew? And can you get it in an evening, or is it just a lunchtime special? Oh, I don't know what you're supposed to do here.
Just kill all the baddies and you win the level.
But maybe I can get powers. Maybe
How
I'm
do you get
missing.
the powers?
Maybe I have to get these.
How is that giving you powers?
Oh no.
Because pushing you up the hill. Flash.
But now I'm behind him. Oh, that is a police car. Remember you said, is there police cars? He sounds like a police car.
Or maybe it's a real. Or maybe it's actually in a game.
Maybe. So, tell me again, what did you have again? You had meatballs, pork meatballs with chips. Do you like crisps?
Yeah.
Me too. Oh, look, there is a police car. It's like a police
Does it
smart
have-
car.
Does it have a real police in the game? See,
It's very strong for a little car, isn't it? Oh, I'm going to leave these guys. They're boring me now. Gammon and chips. Mmm. I hope it has a piece of pineapple. That is the only way. It's not right without the pineapple. Do you think these people should just definitely go home?
yes.
We're in our way.
So, are you allowed to kill them in the game?
No pineapple, Andrew. Come on. It's tradition. It's like an 80s tradition. Maybe a 70s tradition. If you don't have the pineapple, it's just not right. It's like not having the little things, cheesy thing on a stick at a party. What would the Queen do on her coronation if you wouldn't have pineapple? Ah, we got him.
Do you throw the person like behind,
Yeah.
like on the grass? Are you using the back of the car to push him?
I am. I'm trying to push him backwards.
Then why are you not setting him on fire?
Because I've got a plan. I'm not interested in him. I want the green car. Which is there. Do you see the green car?
Yeah.
Oh no, he's escaping. Uh oh.
He's already.
Yeah, he just blew up by himself. Norovirus. Ah!
That's the green car that you want to have.
Yes.
Yes, good. You set him on fire.
Hey, Becky. Greetings. I'm not sure they stay blown up, you know. I think they keep coming back.
Is that a police car that's in front of me?
Oh no, they do stay wrecked. Of course, this Carmageddon did have a serious Death Race 2000 vibe,
Set to
where you would have been Frankenstein. Actually, I do think they come back. I don't think they stay permanently wrecked, which is kind of annoying. How can I find this checkpoint? There's like a checkpoint literally on this building. But yes, Becky, very good all in all. Can't complain. Can't complain, you know how it is.
Why was that person in red?
In red?
Yeah,
I don't know.
because
Look,
maybe
I think
he got hurt.
I think the checkpoint is in the building. You see up that circle up there?
Yeah.
I don't know how you get to go so fast to drive up and get it. Yeah, I did it! Woohoo!
You got that checkpoint.
Yeah, I got it. Oh, what?
But this checkpoint taken.
That means someone else got to the other checkpoint.
It says go to the checkpoint over there. You're right in it. Did you take that checkpoint? What happened to you?
We got flipped up turned upside down.
Yeah, but why is there people stuff in front?
Oh yeah, I don't know. Is that good?
Fire?
Is that a power? Maybe that's a power. Like if someone, if we crash into someone, it will electrify them.
So crash into someone and see what power it is.
Okay. Oh, what?
Crash! So was that your power? It does nothing.
Well, I don't know. It did crash them pretty good.
Did it done fire crash?
Ah! No!
You exploded him.
I know, because he stole my checkpoint.
I think I saw the checkpoint.
Where?
I saw the checkpoint, but someone stole it.
There it is, there it is, there it is. If I can hit this just right. Oh no, 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 no.
Crashed it.
You popped it.
What happened?
It's alright. Yeah, I knew they'd take it. Wasted too much time.
So you actually know how to play this game properly.
Sorry?
Do you actually know how to play this game properly?
Yeah, I think so. Do I get to have a pudding today?
If you want,
What pudding do you think I should have?
you know.
What pudding is the best pudding? Oh, not this one up the side of the building again, is it? What pudding do you think is one of the best then?
Apple crumble.
Oh, apple crumble with custard.
Yes.
Hot custard?
Yes.
Mmm, that is a good pudding. What about rhubarb crumble?
Look, there's a baddie.
I agree, Becky. I agree. Everybody in the chat should be
No.
telling.
He stole that checkpoint.
Yeah.
But now you crush it.
I wonder if this is multiplayer. This could be fun if it's.
I think it is multiplayer.
Really?
And someone knows outside the building's playing.
Do you think other people on the internet should be allowed to play?
Yeah,
Checkpoint!
going.
Look at these guys. I found out how to use the power. Did you see that?
Yeah, but what button was it?
Oh, nice. Return.
Was it?
I won! Woohoo! Treacle.
Won the whole round.
I did. That was good. Becky says the best pudding is treacle sponge pudding. Heinz puddings in a tin, and of course I remember them. I still eat them. They're amazing.
So are you going to choose a different car?
I don't know. I think I'm going to keep using the same car over and over again forever and ever. Forever, ever, and ever, and ever, and ever. Do you want to watch? Here.
Is that the bestest car ever?
Ah! Checkpoint. This is a grown-up game. You shouldn't be watching this game.
I like it.
But it's not nice if you ponk people in it. So we have to avoid that, okay?
Okay.
We're being the goodies. We're getting the baddie cars, but we're not getting the goodie people.
What happens if you do get them?
It'll be an accident. Come on, tell me more puddings. I'm hungry for puddings now. I want to know about more puddings. What about
Toffee pudding.
toffee pudding? Sticky toffee pudding?
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that one. I like pudding. I really want puddings now. Becky, I thought they were still going. Yeah, I really need
It's
more
just
loading
a
time.
race that you need to. Race.
Yeah, this one's a race, I think. Look, it's got a race map.
So do you need to race people around?
Why are they all cheating? Like, everybody's cheating. Let's do this. If we're going to race, we're going to race properly.
Because they're just cheating.
They're just cheaters, aren't they?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, we better start thinking about slowing down. Ah!
There.
Got it, got it, got it. We got this. We got this.
Third. You just need to go straight up, go round the corner.
Chris, how you doing, sir? We've been long time no speak. It's not good.
Turn the car quick.
It's not
quick,
health. Oh, you've got brake if you push back. Did you know that? I've been pushing handbrake all the time, but you do have just regular brake too.
So do you need to get 6 score?
6 score.
Twin.
What's your favourite game at the moment on the BBC? We've been playing a lot of Red Riding Hood.
What is the BBC?
That's the computer in the kitchen. The one that plays Pod. Tell me some of the things that Pod can do. Fly. What else?
Jump.
Jump. We're streaming. We're on the internet. Okay,
Too
leave
much?
it. Leave it alone.
Okay.
Leave it alone. Oh, that's not the right way.
You're cheating.
Gorgeous.
There. You won it.
Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa.
You crashed into people.
Chris, though, what's the lowest frame rate you think you can get away with and play a game?
You need to repair.
I'm repaired. I am repaired. Chris, the problem with Granny's Garden is it's really fussy. It's got a really irritating loading procedure.
This is the last one, Daddy. You won.
And I'm not sure, I think we have to do 3 laps. But don't worry, we're in lap 2. But I don't know why there's no simple SSD load for GG, as it's called in the streets. But I do, if I've never really played it, but I do like Red Riding Hood. That's pretty awesome. But I have to admit, there's something wrong with my SSD because Chapter 2 of that's not running right now. I think Granny's Garden's a current IP though. That's why it's still kind of hard to get hold of.
You crashed.
I know that wasn't a good move there. I'm having troubles with my brake.
That's because you don't play this game so much.
That's right. And do I need to play this more? How many times a day should I play this one?
1,800.
1,800. That sounds like a lot of zeros. Yeah, so it still makes money, Chris. That's why. After all these years, I do like that format of game. Actually, I think I wish there were more like that, or maybe there are, but I definitely could do with some PC versions if they're not. But the problem is, the Beeb is just so good at it, isn't it? It's not, why waste time? In fact, I'm going to have a look on the internet later and just see if there's a massive compilation or someone's made a database of all of the best of those games, because that's something I definitely want to invest time. Yeah, we're good. We're doing good here.
And there's cheaters.
Final lap. We're first though. There's cheaters.
Yeah,
Yeah, cheaters baddies. Should you never cheat?
never.
Oops.
That was that person.
Yeah. So yeah, the Beeb is just good because it just fires straight into it, doesn't it?
Is this your final lap?
Yeah, this is the final lap. You know what it is, Chris? It's because it doesn't distract you. There's no internet, no Skype, no nonsense on it. It fires up, simple graphics, straight into the game. The game doesn't, you know, you're in Granny's Garden, what do you want to do? Or something. In fact, to be honest, the Red Riding Hood game leads you a lot, and then there's a little bit of maths, a little bit of typing,
In front of
a
you.
little bit of spelling, a little bit of memory, writing, making maps. We like making maps, don't we, Alex?
Yeah.
Did you make a map for Red Riding Hood? What did it have? Granny's cottage in it. What about your lists? You like making lists when you play those games too? Lists of all of the objects you carry in. Manual inventory control.
Oh!
Oh!
Because there's an elf.
An elf. Oh, what does the elf do?
He talks about how many prickles the hedgehog has.
Oh.
If you do the wrong answer, you need to start the game all over again.
You have to start the game all over again? Oh dear.
It was a different number.
How many prickles did the hedgehog have?
I don't know.
Oh, it's alright, we wrote it on your piece of paper. Maybe you need a BBC pad. What do you think for holding all of your computer game knowledge? Chris, I want to know though, is there anything on the BBC Micro that's a bit like a kind of a
Daddy,
Dungeon Master game? We did it. We're good. Who's awesome? Me.
Me.
Boom. We're awesome because we're a team.
Do you always win?
No. I definitely do not always win.
Why?
So let's talk about this little finger thing you've got here. Is that like a witch's finger?
I don't know.
Are you going to wear that to school? It looks like an alien claw, doesn't it? There you go. Come on. It's loading time.
Why do you keep on doing the same cards when you never did the cards before?
Oh, my audio Discord chat is on mute. Hello.
Are you still doing the video?
I am. Mr. Dalton is in the Discord. Let's see why we can't hear him.
Where has it gone?
I think I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Probably muffled. Muffled and erroneous. Just the way I like my audios. How are you, Mr. Dalton?
Very well, sir. Very well. Thank you. My Amazon driver just appeared.
Really? Anything good?
Nothing brilliant. Just a camera case, some cables for holiday. Nothing interesting.
No items of an adult nature.
Sadly not. I don't know. Do Amazon sell those?
Do you want to try a game, Al? It's called The Darkness of Ravenwood.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. I'm going to look it up though. Let's have a look it up. The Darkness. The Darkness of Ravenwood. Do you like games which have words in them? Should we do a practice, a reading practice? And if you can read it, then I'll get the game for you. Right, ready? Let's do a practice run. What does it say then? Let's read that. If you can read that, I'll get the game for you. Ready?
All of that, then you get the game.
Yep, come on, read it up. Let's go, let's go.
You are outside for B1 eating
Bleeding.
wolf tavern.
You're outside the Bleeding Wolf Tavern.
Snow is gently falling and there is a
Deep.
deep chill in the air. You see your
Carriage.
carriage, but no sign of the driver.
Exits. East.
East.
And in. That's what that means. You see.
See nothing.
What now? And then you would type your command like look. Or you remember pod? You were playing pod. You remember the commands that you had in pod? Think of all the things you could do in pod. What could pod do?
Fly, jump, run.
Does anybody in the chat remember pod? Andrew, you must have played pod.
On the beat?
Yeah.
Probably back
It's
in the
a
day.
race.
No, I didn't play pod.
It's a race, Daddy.
It is a race, and you just jogged my arm. Right, let's do this again.
Is it racing?
Oh, Chris says he can remember Pod.
So if you want like a Dunnington type one, you remember those ones like Acorn Softball Maze?
Yeah.
And that's kind of a scoring of
Oops.
What happened?
I split my car in two. But what I need to do is I can't hear Andrew because of the sound settings, and that also means that the boys and girls at home are going to be hearing him in a very bad way. More bad than usual. So I'm going to put him on
So
that.
would they hear you talking in a deep voice?
Yeah. How deep a voice will they hear you talking? Hello. Headphones. Mr. Dalton,
Hello.
I can hear you now.
There we go.
There we
I
go.
keep saying he remembers Pob.
Pob, I do. Pob was didn't he like blow on the glass and
That's
that was Pob. This is a very noisy game.
It's very quiet.
So, Chris, when you say pretty cutting edge at the time, are we talking about Pod or are we talking about the Raven Quest game? So, Alex, I really liked Knight Rider. That's something we're going to watch. Do you know who Knight Rider stars? David Hasselhoff. He was a very famous actor, and he still is.
I'm a walking parody, but yes.
I am going to turn this down because its volume is almost too loud in my ears. But I watched Baywatch again yesterday. And I
Oh, the
quite
film.
like that movie,
Hmm.
but a lot of people don't.
I think The Rock is quite likeable in most things he's in, though. That's the.
Yeah, and it didn't take itself too seriously, did it?
I
And there was quite a lot of self-satire going on in it.
Well, who's joined us? That's
Spectrum haters.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Mr. Taylor.
Spectrum haters. You're going to get a bad reputation for not being a team player, Rob.
I'm not a team player.
You're not a
Never
team-
will-
never
Spectrum
will
team
be.
player.
And especially not if it comes to Spectrums. You only like the real computers.
Tell us of the build quality of the Spectrum, Dr. Armstrong.
The build quality. I don't know. I can't comment on it. I just don't get it. It's horrible. That dead flesh keyboard. I mean, I quite like the +2. I mean, that's pretty good. I'm definitely about the +2. But I've got a I think I had a regular rubber key one somewhere, but I've definitely got a plus, and a plus is Sinclair's kind of attempt to put a better keyboard on it. I don't know if you're aware of that. It's the same sort of keyboard that they did for the QL.
As Chris says, the build quality of emulated Spectrums is exceptional.
They're the best ones to get. And I'm not talking about the hardware ones, just the ones you run on the PC. Because even have you noticed even the reboot Kickstarter project ones are crap.
Oh, the
I mean,
Vega.
yeah, the Vegas. I mean, how can you even get that? You know, that sort of almost means fundamentally there's something wrong with it.
Cool. I got a kite in my level.
See you later,
Yeah, but
boys.
Don't forget though, they were built from table scraps from the start.
I mean that's something that's very interesting and worth exploring at some point, where there is a lot of history with Clive Sinclair, and we forget that his sort of company was built upon selling junk.
Tapped.
junk components. It was like you could buy crappy transistors and crappy resistors and all of, you know, basically the reject parts. And then eventually started to make kits. But those, you got to remember, those kits were kind of also made out of those same reject parts. So that's why, you know, you had these calculator kits, and you had the watch, LED watches and things like that. Very few people have good things to say about those.
Yeah. Weren't the watches and the calculators incredibly static sensitive as well?
They're just incredibly pants. Yeah, and if you just touch them, they'll break. But when you actually just read people's anecdotal evidence from the day, they said, yeah, that's how they were, though. That's even when you bought them, they were like that. It's not that the fact that they're, you know, 40 years old now. It's just they barely worked then. And if you bought the kits...
Yeah. Well, Chris is making a very valid point. The Spectrum was built around a price point. Without that price point, lots of, well, he changes the word, working class kids would have been left behind.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's very weird, isn't it? It's just very weird. I don't know. You can't predict how anything would have gone differently, can you? If things had changed. I mean, people still had probably. Would it have not? Well, let's put it this way. There's probably one good thing about the Spectrum, because without it, maybe the Acorn would have never been made, or you know, or something like that.
Well, Chris, I had a BBC B, and I lived in Lincoln, so I was almost in the north.
So, Chris is a very good person to really give his view on this, because if you know, you obviously said you didn't have a BBC or a Commodore 64, but I mean, you had a Spectrum, but okay, it gave you. Let's put it this way: just because it gave you your first taste, that's great. It did all of that, but doesn't mean it's good, right? That's probably one way of looking at it. Maybe people are too busy on like joining those two things together, where they don't have to be. Becky says Spectrums were for the plebeians. I don't know, maybe.
It wasn't good versus the C64. Well,
yeah.
Rob is about the biggest C64 fan in the world. Is he there?
I've had a few goes.
Few goes.
Yeah, so I'm guessing having a Spectrum would be better than nothing. We can agree on that. But saying it's like some amazing machine with it's not. Using it as an argument, saying yes, it got computing into the hands of lots of people. Okay, yes, it did. Well done. But that doesn't mean it's a great machine, right? I think that's basically where I want to go with that argument.
I had a ZX81 to start.
Oh, they were awful, weren't they? I remember I definitely had one of those. And didn't they have... Oh, I remember like the screen used to flicker when you used to type on it.
No, that was the ZX80.
Okay. I'm not sure now.
Pretty sure it was the 80 flickered and the 81 they got rid of the flicker.
And I had with it, someone had made... I bought it second hand. And someone had made a external keyboard for it, and it was actually like, imagine a proper like terminal keyboard. It wasn't like a PC one. It was just from a terminal or something, and it was in a wooden. It was like a wooden keyboard because they'd made it all out of wood, and it kind of just plugged into the, I guess, the interface on the back. It was. I don't know. I think like most things, it's a bit like if you made your own computer now. So Rob, if you made your own. You got like a microcontroller and you got some bits and pieces, and then you made your own computer kit. That's, I think, what the Spectrum kind of was. So Chris is saying that it
took the basic parts and got the cheapest for everything.
Cheapest for everything. So Chris is saying its weakness created an art style that could never exist without the penny pinching. Yeah, but it depends if you like that. I don't like the color clash things. I mean, what's interesting though, talking about art style, let's stick on that subject. it is interesting how it varies so much between all of the platforms. Because if you remember, like, you had an Atari 2600, Commodore 64, BBC Micro, they all look different, don't they?
Mm.
Whereas now, PlayStation, Xbox, PC, it's all just meh, isn't it? All just the same. I mean, this game's going to look the same on every platform, isn't it?
Pretty much. This was something I was talking about the other day with someone, that whereas games would genuinely look different between the platforms and versions, and there'd be enormous differences, now we're reduced to arguing over the light reflections on a puddle are slightly different.
That's true, yeah. Look at that crazy car. Wow. And there's massive fanboyism now still exists, which is in a really funny way, because it's like, if you're a certain generation, you can't even tell what they're arguing about.
Well, that's the thing, between the PS4 and the Xbox One, largely the assets are the same for the games.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense for the developers to support every platform as if they're easy to port, which they are. And on the other hand, it kind of doesn't make any sense that there are so many platforms with different hardware. I don't know what the value proposition is between the manufacturers anymore. Do you kind of... I guess Steam was the only one that was trying to kind of make this Steam machine, you know, where they could all just say, fine, we're going to make these PC type things. And they did a obviously massively bad job at it, and they had their Steam controller, which is terrible. But if that would work, that could have been a nice little thing, you know. You might have got JVC and all of these companies back into the game.
You mean before they went bankrupt, the names were brought up by some enormous Chinese or Turkish OEM manufacturer who just sticks the old label on?
Yeah, but it would be awesome though, right? You could have had all of... you could be playing on your Panasonic Steam machine. It'd be like MSX, wouldn't it? They could just start differentiating themselves on style and looking cool and having more LEDs. Integrating with your home hi-fi system and stuff.
So when's the MSX project start?
The MSX project is going to start. Let's think of what have I got scheduled up.
Well, you got a busy October though, haven't you?
I do, but I'm going to wrap up the Super Gun project. So we've got some BBC Micro stuff, which just wrapping up the kind of BBC Micro servicing projects. And then we're going to wrap up the Super Gun one, and the remember that box I made with the adjustments on it, so you could play with RGB video. Get that out of the way. Yeah. There is a hardware project I had in mind. I did want to make an Internet of Things video, Arduino-y type stuff, or Node's MCU. So you'll like that, Rob, because the reason is I want to get that out of the way a bit. I've got of Chrissy, and I hope I've paid him. I can't remember. I bought a load of these OLED screens as well.
Yeah.
So I've got the idea of, on those OLED screens, of making a very little tiny handheld Tetris computer. Remember we talked about those Tetris computers? I just want to do a little proof of concept fun build of one of those. And then really I think that would give me the base knowledge required to start thinking about MSX now. But I've got one other gotcha though, Rob, as well in the meantime. I've ordered a bit of a connector to fit on the BBC Micro's user port.
Okay.
Because also I just want to have a bit of fun by hooking one of those up to some breadboard and then hooking that up to a booby board and just doing some BBC to PC USB stuff.
That's
and you're going to say, but you can buy loads of stuff to do that. But it's like, that's not the point.
Yeah, you can buy pie hats, but ours is the best.
Yeah, I just want to like do the whole thing. Like, we're going to just learn how to actually make a BBC talk to a PC and then actually code, you know, because we actually have to code the BBC to do it, and we might need to do it some in assembler as well to get the speed. And I think that's the fun, isn't it? It's the learning how to do that. It's not just going on the internet and buying a bloody interface that you can just gives you 10 USBs on your master BBC master. It's like, why do you even want to do that? You know what I mean? And you haven't learned anything once you've done it.
But interestingly, what you're saying now touches on what Chris is saying in the chat, which is limitation begets creativity.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. Yeah, and I think that's it. I like projects where we do stuff that enhances the old machines without overkill.
So I'm just reading an interesting thing here about the 8-bit micro, well, the 8-bit micros that were available around the time of the BBC. There was something called the PCW Benchmark 8, which I believe was some basic code, and it had to perform double accuracy calculations.
Yeah.
And it's got the benchmarks for the various machines here.
Oh, that's interesting.
So the Grundig, or the Grundy Newbrain,
Yeah.
performed the benchmarks in 7 seconds. The
Yeah.
Micro was 5.1.
Yeah.
The IBM PC was which was a 16-bit machine. That was 3.5 seconds. And the Spectrum took 25.3 seconds.
Jeez, that's pretty damn slow.
Mm.
Now there's an interesting, there's a really interesting machine I put on the Gumtree eBay thing on our Discord, and that's the Amstrad PCW, which is a word processor, inverted commas, and you can find them. There's one in Romford right now for under 50 notes. I would love to get that. And the thing with the Amstrad PCW is it is a Z, it's like an 80, Z80 or 88, it's a Z80 processor. And it does boot up into this whole word processory type thing, and I think later versions have actually a graphical UI and things. But the thing about that actually makes it really clever and special is it's actually running CPM under the hood. So it's like it's your opportunity. Hi Mike, hi Kevin. It's your opportunity to actually own a very genuine CPM machine, and people are selling them for 50 quid with the monitor and the printer and everything. And if you can interrupt the BIOS when it's booting, you can just get in there and just start running, learning CPM and compiling stuff for that. So I've always wanted to try CPM out, and that could be a really great way of doing it. Just having an all-in-one desktop machine that just does it.
Mm. Did you watch the LGR video on CPM?
I didn't. Was it good? What
Well
did he
worth
run it
watching.
on?
No. It's it's LGR Tech Tales, which is he's done a couple of CPM videos. This is about digital research, not Digital Equipment Corporation, which is very important to remember. They were both abbreviated as Digital,
Right.
but they were very separate companies.
Oh, okay.
Digital Research was a software company who created CPM. Digital Equipment Corporation were the company who created, VAX, etc. And they were bought by Compaq and then HP.
Yeah, VMS and all of that.
Exactly. Really good stuff back in the day. And the Alpha, XP CPUs, that kind of thing. Anyway, but the LGR Tech Tales story is really interesting. But ultimately, the guy who's the founder, Gary Kindle, of Digital Research, ended up basically drinking himself to death.
But didn't he die in a brawl in a biker bar?
That's correct. Yeah, that's right.
That's a fascinating story, because it was like one of the biggest business screw-ups of all time. And if I recall, Bill Gates was on the phone to IBM, and they're saying, "Do you have an OS for our new IBM line? Personal computers?" And he's like, "Nah, I don't have anything, but you want to go speak to this guy." So they rock up to his house, and he's not in. He's up flying his light aircraft or something, and his missus is refusing to sort of sign an NDA with IBM, so they can talk, because they obviously just want to have a meeting. And I don't know, eventually he turns up, and they've already left, and they never get to touch base with him to sort of work out a deal. And they went back to Bill Gates, and they said, "Well, Bill, that guy you said just let us down." He's like, "Well, I'll tell you what, I've got an OS," and he sort of ran down the road. And he bung like 20 grand to some guy.
It was Paul Allen who did. Chris is quite right. It's all dramatised in Pirates of Silicon Valley.
Pirates of Silicon Valley. And didn't. So basically, it was a CPM clone that the guy had made, wasn't it?
Yeah, he called it DOS.
And really, the rest is history. But wasn't it ironic? Because if I recall, that DOS was either bundled for free or bundled for 20 notes or something. And the guy who did CPM, didn't he sue IBM to make it that they had to offer it as an option when you bought? He did. He sued them, so he had to have it as an option when you bought the machine, that you could buy CPM with it, but he wanted 600 notes for it. So basically, no one bought it, and that was that. That was that. So
it's quite incredible because
he would have been Bill Gates.
Yeah. Quite incredible story.
I don't think I'm going to win this game just through sheer racing, and now that the kids are gone, I think it's time for carnage.
You're going to start running people over, are
Yeah, I just realised, why am I not running people over?
The child units are not with you.
The child units have now retreated to the safety of the Nintendo Switch or Wii or something. Ah! Oh, cows! Oh, I had some pepperonis today, everybody, boys and girls watching. But the pepperoni I had was beef. Have you ever had the peppered beef pepperoni?
Yeah, I have. I'm not a fan of them.
But it does taste a bit steaky if you close your eyes, roll it around a bit. If you were eating that but you didn't realise it was a beef one, you'd have thought it was a gone off pork one.
It's alright, it's not my favourite one.
Mike, I remember Gem. I remember it on my Atari ST and I remember it on PC. But I can't remember. I think it was available for BBC Micro. I remember having an AMX mouse. That had some little gem type thing. Commodore 64 also has quite a nice little GUI. So did you ever...
128 was CPM, wasn't it?
Say again, Rob, sorry?
128 was CPM, wasn't it?
The 128.
What, Commodore's 128?
Yeah.
I thought... Really?
Yeah.
Rob is right, you could boot CPM 3 on a Commodore 128.
Can I run CPM, I wonder, on anything I'm running? In fact, I know I can run it on the Monster joysticks. Gave me a board that was originally Chrissy's, I believe, which is a Z80 board for the BBC. And you can run CPM on that. It's because it's a Z80 co-processors. So we can probably run it. Okay. I think you've got options in this game. We can probably run it on our PyTube Directs. Oh, the pet was CPM. We're learning a lot today. You don't expect to learn something on a stream, but maybe we're redefining how streams work.
Never know.
You know these Duratool desoldering machines that everyone's got?
Yeah.
Is there a way of like increasing the suction, perhaps?
I've got one over there. We could do that as a video if you want me to explore it. I'll just dismantle mine and see how it sucks.
It needs a bit more, you know.
I that's why I never really found them much worth over a normal solder sucker.
Yeah.
And you have to wait ages for it to friggin' heat up anyway. And while I'm using them, I do end up using the regular soldering iron anyway to put a bit more tin on or flux or something to get them to flare. They're almost there, but not quite. We need to have a go at my soldering oven.
Yeah.
That's something that would be nice to learn. Ah, Rob, you know what else you should try if you're into your soldering? You should try get one of those cheap Chinese kits.
Yeah.
And do the entire kit using the hot air blower.
Yeah, well, I don't know what use that would be now. I wouldn't say mastered it, but I'm pretty good with the old SMD stuff now.
Yeah, but you should use the hot air blower for everything. I mean, even the through hole.
Alright.
Yeah, so when you get good at it, you don't even need the soldering iron anymore. You can do everything with hot air.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's fun to try that. I'm all up for reusing the same tool so I don't have to swap tools where I can. So Chris is saying Infocom had a virtual machine called Z Machine, designed to run their games across a range of... But they never supported ZX Spectrums because they required a disk drive. Oh, that's a good idea. But those, yeah, all of those, do you remember those? What was the other one? Scum. The Scum engine.
Scum was LucasArts for the Adventures, wasn't it?
Because do you remember Zack McCracken and the Alien Mindbenders?
Yep.
Police Quest, Leisure Suit Larry.
Maniac
Well,
Mansion.
they were Sierra.
They were Sierra. I love those games.
Well, no, Zack McCracken was Lucas, but
I would love though to really. I really want to try an Ultimate game, but I'm wondering if they would annoy me too much. Because I am a Zelda player and stuff, so I've played quite contemporary, from the 8-bit all the way up to you know, all the portables and Switch versions. So I kind of feel if I try the Ultima series, they'll just annoy me. So Chris is saying Scum stands for script creation utility for Maniac Mansion. So Chris, do you think you're the adventure game master? Do you ever follow the sort of Scum type games? Do people still make their own Scum type adventures, point and click? And Becky, yeah, like you say, Scum VM is popular, but is there a popular homebrew?
there is a Scum VM engine for modern Windows. You can go just put the game files into it.
Yeah, but do you see what I mean, Andrew? I wonder if people actually still make the games, not just the make the engines to play the old ones.
Well, LucasArts certainly don't.
No, but yeah, I kind of think it'd be more of a homebrew thing if it exists at all.
I suppose they're quite a monumental project to make one, because the later ones are all. I mean, there's lots of re-engineered versions of like Monkey Island that had voice actors and updated the graphics, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But actually making a new game is a homebrew thing. It's probably quite almost like making a movie.
Oh yeah, I should think production values are really high. So Kevin's saying the Retro Hour guys had the guy who did Grim Fandango. That was quite a nice game, Grim Fandango. I think you play Manny in it, if I recall, and it was all set on the Night of the Dead or whatever they have in Mexico. Oh, Chris says the re-engineered Monkey Island games are travesties.
I'm not a fan of them
Travesties.
either. I kind of agree with you there, Chris. I'm not a fan of them. I don't like them. I don't like the way they change guidebrushes and look constantly.
Have you got powers to electrify?
I've got what, sorry?
Powers to electrify.
Oh, powers to electrify the police. So that's what I should be doing.
Yeah.
Is it good to electrify the police in real life, though?
No.
No, okay.
Can you use your powers to electrify?
I think I have to use my powers for evil.
So is the police goodies or baddies in the game?
I think the police are goodies. I think you might be the baddie because you're driving around in a very baddie-like fashion. Oh, so Chris, like you say, they're robbed of their soul. Do you think it's almost, if you're going to play one of the original games, let's say I liked Beneath a Steel Sky, so you're going to play Beneath a Steel Sky, I think you should almost play it on old hardware too. Because if you try to play it on your modern day PC, it'll feel wrong and you'll feel disappointed. But if you kind of play it on a really old crummy Hewlett-Packard laptop that you pinched from work 20 years ago, it'll be right somehow.
You know, I'd play them on the Amiga, like I did with the first two.
Yeah, that would be nice. You got the disc swapping going on, do you, as well?
Yeah.
Super Speed, this is a super game. I'm really loving this. It almost makes up for the paying the extra like £4 for G2A on my I Am Bread game, which I haven't managed to master yet. I've decided with I Am Bread that I need to plug in the Xbox controller into the PC. I don't think you can do it any other way, really. Not that makes sense, at least. Do you like bread, Alex?
What?
Any bread? What's your favourite kind of bread?
Bread with butter and jam.
Bread with butter and jam. What do you think, Mr. Dalton? Is that an acceptable bread option?
That's a good bread option.
I think that's like one of your standards. There's a few standards in bread. Bread with butter and jam. Bread with just butter. And what was the
I remember
third
as
one?
a child, my grandmother giving me bread and dripping occasionally.
Bread and dripping. How about, is cheese on toast a bread option?
I'd say so. But we do have to be careful because we do stray dangerously close to pizza.
Oh, I mean, if you were teaching you're teaching your children to go out into the big bad world, I think the butter, jam, and cheese are pretty much your necessary minimum viable product.
I'll tell you what though. If we're talking about sandwiches and unconventional fillings, try crunchy peanut butter and cheese.
Sorry, peanut butter and
Crunchy peanut butter with
Yeah.
cheese in a sandwich.
and cheese.
Mm.
Alex, can you go and ask Mum if we have cheese? You ask Mummy if we got some cheese, because I know we got peanut butter and I know we got bread. This is something I need to try. Flock of sea cows, Esquire. Bread, butter, jammy dam. You know, bread, butter, jammy dam sounds quite good because it's people go but then it's no different than putting cranberry on something.
Do you have cheese, Daddy?
We do have cheese.
That's what we said.
Oh, that's interesting. Can I write an order? Should we take an order down for something I need for my tea?
Yes.
So let's get this. Andrew, I'm going to get this right. We're going to go for bread. Peanut butter? Is there any regular butter or just peanut butter?
Ideally crunchy peanut butter.
Yeah, that's all we have.
Yep.
Alex, don't run away.
You have to explain that you don't want a cheese sandwich and a peanut butter sandwich.
Tell me about anything.
Bread plus peanut butter plus cheese sandwich.
Yes.
And some Tizer to wash it down, but I know we don't have that, unfortunately. There you go. This is your order. Can you give that to Mummy and say, order up? I'm going to get into so much flack now. You wait. Prawns and onion, Becky? I don't think that's really weird, is it? Because prawns is a fishy thing. I mean, there are... It's interesting. Apart from like a fish masala, I can't really think of many fish and onion combos. You're right, Becky. It is odd, but not. It's not odd in the way that you think it would be. It's just odd because you
Not
don't
necess-
tend to have it.
In British food, it's not so common. You might have something like a ceviche, which will have onions and fish together.
So Kevin says, beneath the skill sky, you know the sequences to get through the game, so you were just waiting for the set scenes to play out. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's really hard because after you've finished it and you go back to it, it can be a little bit tedious. But I just like the voice acting and things in it. It's nice. I like right at the beginning, for example, you've got the surly guy in the kind of boiler room thing, doesn't he? And he's just... You end up building your robot. Can't remember his name. I'm going to go for Robbie, but it could be something else.
Or flock of sea cows is onto something there, though. An egg sandwich baguette with boiled eggs, strong mustard, mayonnaise, and loads of pepper.
Oh my! I tell you what, if there's anybody in this channel who has some seriously good food taste, it is a flock of sea cows. I will never hear it heard otherwise. Discworld is fun to go back. Discworld? I don't remember ever playing the Discworld. Do you play Rincewind in that? I'm guessing you do, and you'd have your little chest. I mean, if there's any kind of Discworld game, it is got to be about Rincewind and the Unseen University. What did Mummy say?
I don't know.
You don't know?
She said nothing?
She said nothing. Did you give her the paper?
Yeah.
Did she look at the paper?
Yes.
Oh. Okay. Uh-oh.
You're flooded.
I'm flooded. I flooded my engine.
You rode up it. And you died.
I've always wanted to play Chris. One I'd ever played that looked good. It was something called, I don't know. It was set in the kind of Amazon. I think you were like a crashed aeroplane pilot type thing. That looked like a cool game. But again, I think that was probably a LucasArts one.
I'll tell you one I do remember. It wasn't bad, but it was interesting. It was licensed abroad, but not in the UK, which was the Stealth Affair, or Operation Stealth, it was also known as.
Operation Stealth. Whoa, look at that thing.
It was where you were playing, in America you were playing as James Bond, but in the UK you weren't.
Oh.
More cars.
By the way, what's the status of James Bond now? Are we having a Lady Bond?
No.
An
No,
Idris
they aren't
Elba
making
Bond?
No, apparently the next one will be a Daniel Craig Bond, but it may be his last. Until they back another truckload of money up to his house.
But it's almost like I don't think he wants to do it anymore.
No.
Because he never gets any good gauge.
As Chris said, his Flight of the Amazon Queen. That
That's it, Chris. Flight of the Amazon Queen.
is Amiga and DOS.
Just as I'm just sort of playing, the problem is, in a stream you can do this kind of game, can't you? It's just mindless violence, and I'm not really playing it, but it doesn't seem to really matter. But if you're trying to play one of those games, it requires a bit of thought, doesn't it? You can't just...
Yeah.
That's why you never see people streaming text adventures generally.
Well, this is going to be life-changing for you, Rob.
For
They are
me,
next year, yes. Next year they are bringing a minimum alcohol price in Wales.
So you're not going to be able to buy your cheap cider anymore.
It's going to be 50p a unit minimum in Wales.
yeah, that's fine.
Rob's all about the homebrew now, anyway.
It's 50p a unit. Like one can in the UK is 2.2 units, so there's still only £2 for a can. Sorry,
£1 odd.
pound for a can. Yeah, so
Yeah, but it's gonna hit things like the vodka.
yeah.
A litre of vodka will be over £20.
Ooh.
I'm giving up anyway.
Chris is saying he'd die if there was a teabag tax.
So the question is, Chris, what kind of tea bags? What's your tea of choice?
Or do you think there should be a teabagging tax? I'm just having a quick look because there's some weird stuff that's kind of just installed on my machine recently. I'll have a quick look, see what else is on here.
Yorkshire Gold, Chris, good man. That's the same as me.
I feel
Best
like...
tea ever.
What should we play emulated in a browser?
Citadel on the BBC.
No, that's too easy. We got to start with something that Rob will like. Ooh. There we go.
Dig the pie hat out.
Dig the pie hat out and just do a proper job. Hey Alex, how are you? You're in the camera nicely. Look, you're right there. Tape loader. God, even the emulator sounds horrible. To cancel, press Blake. Oh, there's a game here. Bruce Lee. So we all know. We'll turn off the sound, shall we? Bruce Lee. Do you remember this? Because we've played this on Commodore 64. We've played it on BBC Micro. Oh my! I mean, it seems to be trying. So that's pause.
It's your standard cyan and yellow Spectrum game.
Look at that. How do you jump up? Look at that. You're doing it. I mean, I don't know. It's not too bad, is it?
Rubbish.
She says your son has your eyes, Andrew. Both of them. I would have said take them out of his mouth.
Yeah, give them back. Give them back. Do you like this game?
What game is it?
It's Bruce Lee.
So I remember that famous Bruce Lee film where he was in black and white jumping platforms on roofs.
The weird thing is, even if this was like not a bad Spectrum game, I don't really remember the Bruce Lee when he was chasing after the big green guy with the tiny little black ninja guy,
No.
hitting lanterns and going in weird sort of death traps. I don't know. Actually, this game actually works quite well because it doesn't have loads of color clash because it's not really it's not trying hard enough. But it's the ones which try with the parallax and stuff. Now, I actually remember playing Elite on a rubber-keyed Spectrum, and I was actually quite surprised it even could do it, to be honest with you. Let's have a look at this. Catching Lanterns. That sounds like a good name as a band, doesn't it, Becky? There we go. Oh, that was a really long launch sequence. Oh no, it's got different keys. I'm trying to guess keys on old games. Do you remember how like they just never stuck to one sort of standard set of keys, did they? No.
Oh, this is awful.
Exolon.
This is not my Elite.
How about Jet Set Willy? I mean, that's probably one of the few games. Actually, I quite like Manic Miner. I think I prefer Manic Miner. Oh no! Listen to that sound.
Can't hear it on the chat.
Yeah, well, you'll hear it in a moment, though, if you've got the thing on. The boys and girls at home will hear it and be swearing at me. So Manic Miner, I actually quite like this game, but not necessarily the Spectrum version. But I think it was pretty much the same on everything. But I'm quite impressed with the brick pattern. They've actually gone for a multicolour sprite there with the two colours on the old brick pattern. I'm sure Chris can tell you all about this, Chris. Press enter to mute it and it will run faster. Okay, I'm going to turn the sound on. I don't think enter on the emulator keyboard is the same. What was the game we were playing the other day that when you pressed space it was making the game faster? That was an interesting one. Oh, I know what I want to play. I've decided, Rob. You'll like this choice. Commodore 64 in browser. I want to play, do you remember Boulder Dash?
Oh yeah.
That was good, wasn't it? Yeah, it's bread, peanut butter, cheese, and another bit of bread. Andrew, is that right, or is it 2 layers of peanut butter?
What you put
No.
on the list.
Just spread the peanut butter like you would
Gave it to Mummy.
on the bread normally. Just put cheese in there too.
Yeah, with a bit of cheese and a bit of pop to wash it all down.
What about jam? Do you put jam on it?
No jam on it, just bread, peanut butter, cheese.
Mummy, I'm thirsty.
It probably will be wrong. Here, you can take my glass. Go and have some pop. It's destroyed. I do apologise. Yeah, so I quite like Boulder Dash because I was playing on the Nintendo DS a remake of Boulder Dash, and it was quite good. Oh, look, there's Zork there. Now, I never really got into the Zorks, but everybody always goes on about it, don't they? How they love the Zork. I was going to say, this looks very much like a CGA graphics version.
Daddy, whose drink is this supposed to be?
Whose drink is that supposed to be? Mmm.
Is it supposed to be yours?
It is supposed to be mine. Why, do you want some? Ah, my ears. How do we make it stop? No!
So everyone needs to be checking their Facebook accounts in the next few days for anything weird going on.
Oh,
Possibly changing their passwords too.
that was horrible. That was the worst sound I've ever heard. Sorry, Andrew. Please repeat what you were saying. I was being...
I'm going to say a lot
Destroyed.
of people will need to be checking their Facebook accounts for anything weird happening on them and possibly change their passwords.
Oh, why? Is there another...
There's been a breach, 90 million, well, between 50 and 90 million accounts compromised.
90 million?
Mm-hmm.
Under sort of GDPR, where you can get, the fines can be quite a lot per breach, right?
No, it's due to but yeah, but I think they'll be all right because of how quickly they've responded and made it announced.
Okay, well let's see. That'll definitely be big news.
Oh yes.
I've lost my mouse cursor. Can a web browser steal your mouse cursor? Very odd. Got it back though. Come on, let's go. Oh, press
Becky says
escape to
delete
show your
Facebook
cursor.
Becky says delete your Facebook account just to be safe.
Yeah, I think, Becky, that's the best thing to do. It'd be nice if you had a volume control on these.
Chris is off as well, so bye for now.
See you, Chris.
See, Chris. So what do you think is going to happen, Rob? You're into game and software preservation, are you not?
Yeah.
So if you see this website where you've got this website and it's got loads of games and you can run them in the browser, I think it's brilliant. But do you think that these are going to be targets for,
Yeah, they've been targeted quite recently.
And
It's usually Nintendo.
usually Nintendo.
But
I think
First
they
Star
won't-
Software
Daddy,
went
this
after
is
a
one
lot.
of your pieces to make robots.
What about all those games? The other game, Bullfrog and all of those. Are they all like so gone now? Nobody's
Well,
ever going to claim.
Bullfrog are owned by EA, aren't they? The assets are. You see, this is something I spoke to some people about before. I think that unfortunately, I think Rob would probably agree here that what's going to happen is, as we're seeing the trend, it's the trend in nostalgic gaming is going to renew the interest in the copyright holders of these IPs.
Right.
To basically protect their IPs and reclaim them, because there's the whole nostalgia of wanting to re-release things.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I think that's different from playing copies and things. Some people just want to play the games.
So, I don't want to interrupt you, but I have in front of me now a sandwich which contains the crunchy peanut butter and
That's right.
a cheese. So let's give this and it's on a brown bread though, Andrew. So I don't think
That'll
it
do.
quite.
No, let's try it on brown. It's all right, brown.
It does give you a brown bread flavour though, doesn't it? Brown bread.
Mm.
I can't really taste the peanut butter, but it adds texture.
Mm.
Nice. Very good. 3D Bomber, that looks good. Do you remember Descent?
Yeah, it's good.
I'd quite like to give that a go. I might have a look, see if this site has Descent. Oh, but you see, by the way, did you just see what run? When it flashes up there, it looks like they're running DOSBox in the web browser. I don't know how they're doing this, but it's pretty clever.
Mm.
It's a shame Chris has gone, because he would know this sort of thing.
JJXB 2004 says, wasn't Amber Star an Amiga game? Might
That-
have been.
Only Rob would know that.
Not sure. Can easily find out.
It was an Amiga game.
Yeah. There's PC as well in 1992.
Certainly was. It was Amiga DOS.
Oh dear. I want to see though, why doesn't anybody emulate like Lotus 123 and WordStar?
And
When you said
Wordsworth
Lotus
on the
1, 2,
Amiga.
3 for a minute, I thought you meant the Lotus trilogy being the old. Well, don't forget that WordStar and I'm not sure if WordStar, but Lotus 1, 2, 3 ended up falling into Lotus Smart Suite, which just became the evil bastard cousin of Microsoft Office that just didn't work right.
I remember that, and I think that got bought out by Coral. But I remember back in the day.
No, it was IBM.
Oh, IBM. I remember that if you looked at my dad's software forever, for such a long time, be it CPM or DOS, you used to have Lotus 123, WordStar, and DBase. Do you remember?
Yeah, my dad was all about WordStar and Lotus 123 on his luggable.
We used to bundle Lotus on like an OEM CD, and he
Yeah,
used to
we
put
used to-
millions of icons in the taskbar.
Yeah. Lotus 3 is a really nice version of the game.
I'd quite like to play with Windows. It's a shame that you just you can see they're using Windows here in this emulator. It's like, wouldn't you just like to just have an emulator and just play Windows?
Oh,
Not really.
each to his own, but
Windows
not
for
really
work groups. That's it.
not really grabbing me, that one.
I remember Windows 286. Do you remember that version? Windows 286 is a really simple graphics engine as well. It was a bit more like ASCII almost. And I remember Visual. Do you remember Visual Basic 1? That was
Sorry,
a DOS.
I'm just looking at local news. I think, is it local news? Yeah, from my stack. Oh my god. I don't normally post news stories like this, but this is worth.
Is that noise coming from you, Andrew, or is it from me?
What noise?
Oh, I have a noise from the emulator, I think.
Alright. I just posted the link in the chat, but oh my god. A son turned his father into a human fireball after shooting an aerosol can underneath him.
Okay.
And there's footage of it.
Is it sort of is it fun though, or is it someone getting hurt?
No. It is. I wouldn't put it like this. I'd watch it not on your screen, but
Did you see that fellow who was throwing all these fireworks into a barbecue?
there were fire lighters, a bucket of them. He was an Australian guy.
Won't do that again.
No.
Oh, look at that. You get like, this is like Japanese. It even has DOS. Alright, goes into DOS box. God, you must remember when machines were like this, Rob. It's not that bad, really, was it?
I do.
It was quite nice.
No.
Because Windows 95 is pretty contemporary, isn't it? When you get to Windows 95, it's no different than anything else. But Windows 3.1, I mean, there's probably people here watching who's never even had Windows 3.1.
3.1 to 5, 95 was the biggest jump, I think.
Yeah. It
I
was also
like
one of the first times
XP.
a piece.
XP was amazing. That's when Windows 2000. Just before
2000
XP.
was great.
It was amazing.
Yeah, but Windows 95 was one of the first times a piece of software came out that all of a sudden everyone needed to upgrade their machine.
Oh, okay. Let's do it. Let's look for Windows 95, and I was going to tell you why. Should we see if it's got the Weezer video?
Oh, it's on YouTube, the Weezer Buddy Holly video.
I know, but I want to find it in Windows 95.
You want to run the AVI.
And I want to run canyon.mid.
Windows Chicago, that's right. It's the that was the code name for it.
You need symphony.mid.
Symphony.mid, that's an AWE32 sold.
Yeah.
So, Becky, you're obviously reacting to that video that I haven't seen, but did the father know that were they setting this up as a jackass thing?
It's hard to see, really. They've got candles and an aerosol under the bench while the dad sat on it.
And is he having a laugh with them?
Oh, right. They'd been shooting the cans with an air gun. So the dad was... Oh, 2 seconds, guys.
Jam sandwich of my own.
What's in your sandwich? Jam?
Jam and butter.
I tell you what, you can tell Mummy that the cheese and peanut butter is going to be a regular in this household.
And I did it in 2 slices.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that you've gone for the not the triangle cut, but the long cut. Oh, you're dropping a lot of crumbs into my keyboard. Oh, I think we're out of luck though, because I think it was.
Showing the kids though.
You were showing the kids. You were showing all you kids. McBeam, how's it going? I think it was on the CD, and I don't think we've got the CD. So was there any secrets in here, Rob? I see Win Mine.
Yeah, I remember
Minesweeper.
one. It was with Internet Explorer 4 though. Not
Could
with
I
that
show you
one.
my cheat in Minesweeper, how I used to always do it? Custom. And then I'd make it like the biggest you could get. Oh, hang on. I overcooked it there. Custom. I can't remember what the biggest height is. Obviously, this is an early version which doesn't parse it. There we go. Watch this. I forgot though. I like to make it like. Oh, look, there you go. It's telling you 24 by 30 with one mine. Bang! I never really got Minesweeper. I was more of a Jez ball. Yeah, McBeam, we're doing good. It's Friday, I guess night now over here, so the weekend is beginning. And it's beginning with Windows 95, so I think we're pretty much party central. Hearts. Who played Hearts, like at work on the network?
I'm back, by the way.
You're back.
Yeah, that was my dinner being delivered.
What are you having?
A burger.
It almost seems like a waste of having a delivery for a burger, doesn't it?
Ish, but I can't be bothered with going out in the car to go to the shops, and we need to do some shopping, but we're running everything down because we're going on holiday.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, if I was going to have a delivery, I'd have a. How come you didn't go Chinese?
Do you seriously think I just ordered a burger? It's a burger and chicken wings, of course.
Oh, okay. JJXB, I think I agree. I think I want my own VM. Oh, wow. So Kevin is a Minesweeper expert. JJXB, do you think there's any way we could actually play Microsoft Hearts properly using Windows VMs and network them over the internet? Can we make a NetBIOS VPN? I think that sounds like something that Rob can do. He's a man of skills for that sort of thing. If you can just get a book at work, Rob.
I've got better things to do.
IPX networks for beginners. Bubbles. We've got Bubbles and Calc. I tell you what, how many times must have we installed DOS? Well, not even DOS. Windows in Windows 95. I mean, it must have been like
I dread to think.
hundreds of times.
Oh, yeah.
I still do it 20, 30 times a week at work or whatever, you know.
Wow. But isn't it more like unintended install? I mean, you've got a lot of that going on.
Most of that now, yeah. Templates and things.
Oh, should we run ScanDisk? How often did you run ScanDisk? Pardon me. It must have been at least once a week.
Memmaker.
Oh, yes.
If I could turn back time, if I could find a way, I'd be such a Windows genius. Oh, NetBEUI. Kevin knows all of the lingo here. He knows what he's doing with that. I've actually crashed Windows, by the way. That happened a lot too, didn't it?
It was. Kevin's right. It was NetBEUI.
NetBEUI.
The
If I
token ring
recall-
network.
And if I recall, I don't think even Windows 3.11 had a native IP stack.
You had to
No.
run. What was it called? WinSock.
No, we used to use a file called TCP32B, and they used to install TCP stack.
Yeah, it was an additional stack. There wasn't I don't think for a while 3.11, even 3.11 had a native IP stack.
And you had to load the network card drivers in the DOS beforehand.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Pardon me. I'm reacting to the peanut butter and cheese. It's a very filling sandwich, I'll say. But very good. Very good indeed. I'm thinking you could have that with a bit of cranberry as well. And it would be absolutely fine. So this is Windows 1, and I think it's slightly less useful than Windows 286, but it's still pretty useless. I had a laptop that ran this, and you can see it's kind of almost done with ASCII characters, but I guess it is graphical in a way. But just borderline. So you imagine that this is competing with Gem, and Gem is looking kick-ass. That's why, by the way, when Draktamil was offered an OS for the Atari ST, he had the options of going with Windows or going with Gem, and a lot of people, history dictates that he went wrong on that one, and if he had Windows on there, it'd have been amazing. But this is the decision. This is what he was making the choice between, right? So I think he ultimately picked one that was probably not as forward thinking, because if he'd gone with Windows, Atari ST would have been a proper business machine. Gem really didn't give it the clout it needed to compete with the Mac.
Kevin's exactly right there. I'm thinking it reminds me just of DOS Shell.
Well, if you had Visual Basic for DOS effectively, it was pretty similar to this.
Because you could use DOS Shell as a rudimentary GUI.
I can't even remember how you shut things down. I'm just looking here to see what actually you had. You can see it's right in the root. Look, autoacer.bat. So you're just basically running it off a floppy. I think we just tried Calendar, which looked pretty naff. Calc.
Paint.
I mean, these aren't. There's no multitasking here, if I recall. Paint. Is Paint there? Oh, there is Paint. Oh wow! God, I remember this version. It's like you don't even have a full screen to use. I wonder really if they even sold much of this, because it's so. I think you could get Excel though.
Well, I'll tell you something this reminds me of. Well, not that reminds me of, makes me think of nowadays that everyone takes for granted. You've got no file associations.
Yeah, that's true.
If you wanted to load any letter or document you'd done, you had to open up the application first, wait for that to load, and then open your document. There's no ability just to open a document.
You're saying that right, but I just opened a text file perfectly, and
Or
I
maybe
just
text on a default handler, but I bet the others don't dock and stuff.
Okay, Doc did too. Opened in right.
Oh, it does. Oh, that's interesting.
And Paint. Look, Paint.msp.
Well, I'm wrong there. Then that's very interesting. So if you click on View, is there like a file association?
View. Oh, I see. You have up here. Well,
Anything
not
about setting
really.
File association.
But it does have a kind. And you have a principal. Oh, reverse I. There we go. Now we're talking. Look at that. These were simpler times, weren't they? Yet people were all just as busy then as they are now, aren't they? So Rob, when you started your career, what was the sort of first thing you had to start supporting?
I started in a computer shop, and it was DOS and 3.1 at the time. And then 95 came out at the same time as I was working there. The rest is history.
The rest is history.
My first PC was DOS.
I can't even remember like the commands. Dir pipe through to more. No, is it the wrong pipe? I'm not even sure now anymore. No, 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 no. It would be quite nice to.
What's your DIR you're trying to do?
I just wanted to just do a dir and have it. You used to pipe it through to more, but I think I don't know if there's even a more here. Probably that's
It's
why.
probably not supporting. It's probably not supporting in that one. JJXB, right? But pipe that you've got there. If you do pipe, that specifies an output.
Mmm.
When you put the bracket like that, that would do a. But you should be able to do dir, and then
Pipe to a text file.
No, this is this is to output to a text file. Well, I could do that. Try that then.
Output to a text file is easy. It's just dir and then
Pipe and then text.
and then pipe and then not pipe, just the arrow to the right, and then just the file name. So like list.txt or something.
We're running Linux commands now. But then we can jump in and then we can have a look at our cock. Oh, knobs.cock. Let's see what happens if we try that. It'll just probably say cannot run knobs.cock. And you go, that's fine. So I'm going to open it in right.
Try Edlin.
Edlin. It doesn't seem to have any of the DOS real commands there. JJXB, you're right. That is the pipe things because it's pretty much mirroring the Linux ones.
Couldn't tell you about Linux.
Ah, there we go. They'd thought you were a wizard if you were doing this. Yeah. It's interesting about fonts though, isn't it? It was the first... It's strange, but they don't have any folders for things. Not even fixed folder hierarchy. Very, very cool. I almost wonder if there's... It's a shame that I can't find like a C... Is there CP... Oh, CPM in web browser. I do like these web browser things though, because it saves you a lot of effort, doesn't it, to have to download emulators and ROMs.
Easier.
The weird stripped down web browsers of MS-DOS. Do you remember what was the ones in Linux, like Lynx? There's a few different variations of Lynx. They've been around forever, and they support all of the current protocols.
Netscape Navigator.
Oh, now you're talking.
Do you remember when Netscape briefly dabbled with VR?
What do they?
As they called it. But it wasn't really VR. It was VR/3D, where it would kind of render pages with this weird Java kind of 3D objects. It's like Netscape 4, but it was abandoned.
What the heck is this? I was hoping we could do some, direct assembler, but we're not going to get in there. Oh yeah, by the way, I was in the office having a clear out. Boys and girls in the stream too. It's not just a completely personal story. But I opened up a drawer. There's loads of books, and I found all of the old computer books in there I have. And the load of the computer books I have are actually my dad's computer books too, that I've kind of still used, or not used till quite recently. So, Rob, you'll love the book that I've got on the RS-232 protocol. That's one of my favourites. That's pretty cool. And there's another one on Intel Assembler, and it's like a design patterns book where it's got like functions for all sorts of things, and you can use... I'm thinking not Edlin, but something similar. Kevin will know for compiling DOS assembler, for compiling Intel assembler in DOS. You could just do it straight in DOS, and you could use just like disk commands to write the inputs and outputs. And then there's about 20 books. You'll love it. 20 books on VR, but early 2000s VR, so it's totally out of date because there's no Unity or Unreal Engine, but there was a lot of DirectX. Spasm, USIM.
Back in the field.
Oh, so JJXB, what is the Programming Books Humble Bundle? Do you have a link for that? That could be interesting. NCSA Mosaic, Kevin. You know what I remember running at the time? I had an Apple Newton. Do you remember the Apple Newton message pad? And I was eager to download all of the STX files. Do you think it was called Stuff It Explorer files? Because I wanted to upload the programs to it that you could get, because there was loads of like shareware and programs for it. And I remember getting all the Stuff It Explorer and downloading stuff off the web, and then going home to try it, and it wouldn't work, and I'd come back and have to download some more stuff. It was just so tedious. Now it's so instantaneous, but there you had to like mess around. That was it, Mike. Debug. And the really annoying thing is, apparently the Stuff It files for installing to the Apple Newton message pad from a Windows device, a PC device, was a different format than if you had a Mac. And so you'd have all this software and you could never even install it. And I even had the message pad modem, I had the case, I had the extra pens, and stuff back in the day just really sucked. And it really continued to suck with PDAs and things like that for years and years and years. JJXB, it's not letting you paste it because of link protection. I think it's... they know what the sort of things you like to post. I don't think there is a browser-based CPM emulator, unfortunately. Oh, hang on. What's this one? An HTML5? Boom. Oh, but we did this one. Oh, crap. So this is what it is like. Because I remember my dad had that ICL machine that was based on a rare black box. And he was telling me that the machine, you had the monitor and the keyboard, but it wasn't a monitor and a keyboard to a PC. It was the monitor and the keyboard were a terminal to the machine, and the machine was doing the sending you the serial data like this is now. So that's really crazy.
I remember my father, when he worked at one company, they had a big ICL machine that worked much in the same way you're talking about.
So it was like a mainframe, isn't it? The machine just sits there, and then you have, I guess you'd have had like a teletype. There must have been loads of different ways you could connect to the machine to do I/O. Even, I guess, a punch card reader.
No, I remember this though. They had the little green screen serial monitors and keyboards dotted all over.
So let's read. Okay, so there's a game here, look, called Zork. Oh, hello. Hello.hex. So we've read that into memory. So how do we run it? Dump memory, list memory, modify, run program. Oh, it even tells you the address. So we've loaded it. Oh, that's cool. So look, you're actually loading programs into defined areas of memory on your memory map. So you could probably load loads of different programs then into CPM.
I remember that too, Zoinks, been to Hex, to add attachments to emails and Usenet. And then you got something like Eudora as an email client, and it was able to actually automatically handle the U-encoded attachments.
That is it's really amazing hearing the names of these programs that I'd long forgotten about. And some of them are like 20 years ago now or something, if you think about it, aren't they?
What's interesting about Eudora is the company who developed Eudora went in a very different direction.
Really? What did they end up doing?
It's Qualcomm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. We'll need to find a CPM expert one day to figure out what we can actually do with CPM. I mean, I wonder if oh, what does that thing I was telling about? Amstrad PCW. So should we have a quick eBay review? eBay.
I also remember with my father, he was the one who had the job at the end of the day to change the disc pack to back it up.
There you go. So there is your look. See there, right there. CPM Plus Amstrad Consumer PLC. 61K. 2 disk drives. I mean, these are pretty. These are by like even Amstrad standards. These must have been quite. I'm guessing they're quite beefy if you compare them to the sort of Spectrums and stuff, the CPCs. But they were really pants compared to say PCs at the time.
Yeah, but how much were they versus a PC? Because Alan Sugar was another cheap tap trader.
Yeah, but you gotta definitely cheap. I think it's less tat on the tat though, right? They did know how to make stuff.
Well, they did, but it was always made to a very keen price point with Amstrad, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's fair enough. But
But
I
I
mean,
mean,
I remember
if
people had lots of Amstrad stuff, but it didn't like just blow up and stuff. I mean, it just
No, it just
you had to
was
take
never
care of
high
it.
end.
Yeah, it was just it did the job.
Like Amstrad Hi-Fi's never had a really rich, wonderful sound to them.
No.
But,
Romford, here we go. That's the one. That's my bargain of the week.
but like with the PCWs, the thing is, I bet at the time the equivalent PCs were thousands of pounds.
Oh,
Yes, it would be
undoubtedly,
more, but
because
it was
if you
but the
just
cost was
even just a hard disk for a PC would have been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds. Look at this one, eh? See these look in good nick though, don't they? They almost look like somebody's still been using them.
JJXP needs to post a link to that.
Maybe JJXB.
Humble
Maybe if you
bundle.
post it in the Discord, and we can post it back into the chat. CPM to DOS copier. But this one, and this is a really expensive one here. This is really trying it on here. I think looks really cool because look, it's actually got its own little kind of GUI thing going on. Did you ever have a word processor, Rob?
No, we sold one in the shop I worked at. We used to sell more 3-inch discs for the people who had the Amstrads.
That's right. I've noticed on one of these, if you look on eBay, there's one. Ah, here it's this one. Someone has actually modified this one, so it's got a 3.5-inch floppy as well. There you go. That's pretty cool. That you could do that. So the 3-inch, were they the same interface then, Rob? As far as you know.
I believe so, yeah.
Humble bundle, humble bundle. Let's see what we got. Learn you some code. Blah blah. What the hell is F sharp? Sounds like a new trendy hipster language. Java, Perl one-liners. Yeah, not too keen on those ones. So let's keep going. Erlang, come on. Clojure, another list. So these are like the obscure languages. Maybe Ruby might be a bit useful. Lisp is a bit of fun. I always think, can we do some Lisp in a web browser? Python, I don't know. I wouldn't have. What kind of? How much does it cost you this? So if you pay $1, you get those. If you pay $8, you get those. If you pay 15, I don't know. I'd keep my 15. But Lisp in a browser. Guys, it's been a while since I've programmed in Lisp, but I think that'd be quite fun. Did you ever do any Lisp programming, Rob?
No.
I'm almost assuming Andrew definitely didn't do any. There we go. Let's try. I'm just trying to guess commands because I can't use it. Hello. Oh. We've got to look for the library now. Syntax. So the thing about Lisp is, and you obviously, like any other language, you need to know what the syntax is. It was all done in this sort of way, and I can't remember what we used to call it. Was it reverse Polish? So if you want to add two numbers, there you go. So it's add 2, 5. So it's almost like a calculator, so that I'd always close the brackets so I wouldn't forget. But you could do add like that, for example, and then you could have 2 times 3, and then 1 plus 2 or something. Let's see if that worked. No, it didn't like that one. What have I done wrong there? Oh, I think maybe you had to get the result of this. Did you have to eval it? Anyway, it does look crude and horrible, but what you could do is once you built up enough of these commands, you could do amazing things like processing web pages or documents and things. Of really nice code. Lisp. But would you bother learning it now? Probably not. Would you like to code, Andrew? Would you have ever felt if you
No.
Well, let me
never
put it
liked-
another way. If you had something that would be easy for you to learn and use, with very low friction, do you think you'd creatively like to make a program or a game?
Maybe, I don't know. I used to do a bit of basic on the B because you had to. But I just kind of got out of programming.
I like Lua. Lua's my bag.
Never really got myself back into programming. It's not my thing.
I didn't after college. I did Pascal, a bit of C and basic, and that was about it, really.
Oh, that sounds like that's all you need to know.
Yeah, but that was years ago.
Someone's made this thing here, but it's an old project. It doesn't work, which is a shame. There's a very interesting piece of framework that I've written in Lua recently that'll take, I think I told you about this, but it'll take an entire YouTube channel. It will basically download all of the metadata, video thumbnails, everything, generate new thumbnails, new clips for the thumbnails, new overlay fonts, everything like that, completely automatically. And it runs on my channel, which is about 1,200 videos. It takes about 4 hours to run this. You might think that sounds like a long time to run. I worked it out that manually it takes well over 10 minutes per video to do that by hand easily. So you can imagine you've got a massive saving there. So if we do 10 minutes times 1,200 videos, yeah, I didn't really need to do too much math on that part of it. Divided by 60, divided by what, 24? How many days is that? So you're doing in 4 hours 8.3 days worth of work, which is pretty good saving. So I do like powerful languages. RPN, Mike. Can we do? Oh, there's a really good resource. I think it's called 99 Bottles. There we go. This is one of my favourite sites, and it's been around for ages. And you can see here it says one program in 1,500 variations, because it's basically I'm not going to say every programming language ever written, because they probably never stop writing them. But if you look here, you can see, by the way, look, Amos is here, which is kind of cute, because I just noticed that Francois, Lino, whatever her name is, it's there. And basically, when you run these programs, they'll print on the screen the 99 bottles of beer on the wall. So if we went something like Basic, I wonder if this BBC Basic might be here too. Look, BBC Basic, there we go. So I'm just trying to see if you can actually see the output, but you can't run it. You'd have to run it on your own thing. But it just basically prints out all the verses to 99 bottles of the beer on the wall. But there's something with the last verse, isn't there? And it's just done in loads of languages. So you can see how terse a language is, or how verbose is. There's some really interesting programming languages here. One is called, it's a bit rude actually. Here, this one. What do you think of that, Rob? That's a programming language that uses all of these greater than, less than symbols to move like an instruction pointer forwards and backwards in memory.
Jesus.
When you run that actually will print on the screen how many bottles of beer on the wall. you can't even imagine that looking at that.
Insane.
It obviously
It's almost like punched card code or something like that.
Yeah, because it just ignores white space, so you can make it look like whatever you want, but it's these things is the code. And I'm trying to think though. So Mike Sam said RPN. I think if there might be an RPN variant. No. But there's always a Lua variant. There'll probably be about 5 of them. I might have even submitted one. Lua. Maybe not. Huh. I'm pretty sure I actually did submit one of these. I noticed there's not an alternative version with it, with my name on it. But like people have little arguments because a language like Lua, like this you can see, these modern like 6GL languages are so powerful. You can write it basically as if it's like a basic program, just like that. Or you can do that kind of weird graphical thing there, which they're doing that. It's like a very almost compiled version. And then you can use the true power of Lua, which is an insane way of doing it, using system like meta tables, things like that. Yeah, it's cool, really. You were a C programmer though, Rob, weren't you? So C's
Not really, no. Very poor.
Look how something like C though, which is a 3GL. I think they're just taking the piss with this one, because if you see how they're doing it, they're doing all sorts of, they're messing around with buffers and things. They're like purposefully doing it in a kind of horrible way. So you can see here, standard version, multi-threaded, poor style. There you go. So that'd be quite a more normal size. But I like that someone's bothered with a multi-threaded version. It's using P threads, so it'd be more running on a Unix-y type system. You could do this. That would work quite well on a modern sort of multi-processor system. Yeah, one more. Let's think of something beginning with an S, shall we? Oh, how about COBOL? We forgot the old COBOL. I remember doing COBOL on a mainframe for a while.
Showing your age now.
Yeah. The problem is, what youngsters don't realise, you know, when you were using all these machines, they might be a bit slower and have less memory than you have now, but effectively they're no less professional than they are now. Don't you remember? Like they still had keyboards, and it's the same stuff. It's like we think of history in black and white, don't we? We do forget that it's colour at the time.
It's alright though, Rob. Someone's done it in PowerShell, I've just found.
Tidy.
PowerShell. So COBOL, if anybody watching who hasn't used COBOL before, you've got a very specific thing. Well, you've got these divisions as well. So I'm trying to remember as I'm looking at this, but I think this data division is where you're defining all of your variables, and then you can see these are your procedures. But the spacing here, the indents, are really critical. If you get it wrong, your program will crash or do weird things. And that's because this was all designed from a punched card era. So where all of these things were important, the spacing. PowerScript. Crikey, PowerScript. Pocket C. There you go. Oh, the 99 message box don't display the right text. So here's an alternative version of the whole lyrics of the song. But doesn't the mind boggle on how many languages there are? And how many variants of just the same things? I'm just looking for...
In London, that cannon fodder game that the guy was writing, he was at the back. What system are they using to program that? It's really, everyone uses it apparently these days.
Which one? I don't even remember now.
There was a guy, he'd done like a cannon fodder clone.
It would be Unity or Unreal Engine, pretty much.
Yeah,
Unity everybody uses.
Yeah.
Aha, Retro Man Cave. Neil, yes, you missed Carmageddon. It was really good, by the way. That Carmageddon Max Damage is a good game. And I think it's probably cheap. But yeah, we're just looking at some programming languages, and I was hoping there was going to be STOS here, but there wasn't Amos, so I'm just curious about Amos Professional. Do loop.
Well, I'm sure if there isn't a STOS version, we know someone who can code one very quickly.
So, Neil, how's things going? I'd quite like to. Cannon fodder clone. Oh, there's an Amstrad CPC one. Cannon fodder on the CPC. That looks lame. Right, so Neil wants a particular language. Monkey. No. No monkeys there. It's not a real language. But look, Modular 2, Modular 3. So Modular 2 was Pascal, kind of, wasn't it, effectively? Yeah. John, what language were you a programmer in? We are reviewing programming languages to base our next project on. Neil, I don't see monkey. I honestly don't see monkey, I swear. I mean, I'm really surprised it's not on this list if it's a kind of real popular language, but I'm almost... Okay. Yeah, John, Modular 2, that's what you want. Oh, it's a high-level video game type language, is it? Do you know why these sorts of languages don't appear in the 99 bottles on the wall? Because they're not real programming languages. Turbo Pascal. I really love, by the way, Ball and Turbo C++. That was just so sublime, and the debugger was amazing. That was something I wish we could find to run in a web DOS on the web, because that was such a cool language. I never really used much of the ++ness in C++. I always used to more or less just use it as plain vanilla C, because the object-oriented templating was horrible. But yeah, main code. Knowing Java or Visual Basic may help in learning Monkey. Yeah. Methods. This is always the case where somebody has over-commented their code here. So Monkey is the successor to Blitz Basic. Oh, okay. It kind of has a bit of a Java-y vibe, JavaScript-y vibe, even, in fact. Although I guess this is kind of VB. Yeah, it is interesting how Delphi is still a thing, isn't it? I'm surprised people are still using it. I mean, what is it? Fox Pro. I mean, is Fox Pro still a thing? I kind of feel it could be. Amos C, Pascal, COBOL, C++. There's so many languages to choose from. Just choose one and go for it. The most bizarre. 10 most bizarre programming languages. Ook. If you ever felt like a monkey just banging away at a keyboard, then Ook will make you feel right at home. It's a language designed primarily for primates, specifically the orangutan. With Ook, you only use 3 syntax elements. Ook with a period, Ook question mark, Ook exclamation mark. Oh, cool. We can write some Ook. Ook, Ook, move the pointer to the Ook, Ook, move the pointer to previous cell, increment cell pointer. Read a character from std and put ASCII value. Is that pretty much all the Ook commands there? Yeah, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instructions. I'm not sure what you could do with 5 Ook instructions, but I suspect you could make some pre-compiler sort of prototypes and make some templates, and you could build a programming language which ultimately resolved in Ook. Piet. Or is the T silent, so it's pronounced pi. Is a language you know it's died by the programming. Converts programs into abstract geometric paintings. Programs are made up to 20 different colours and then read by the compiler based on hex values to run as a program. That's a kind of weird one, really, because it'd be interesting to see how the parser is working for these. Neil, Ook does sound cool, right? I kind of think we could write some Ook programs, but I just want to check, by the way. Is there an Ook compiler? It's got everything you need for Ook. I like this. Ook binary code to interpret. So is it actually converting stuff to Ook for you? The Ook program should output characters Ook. In order to shorten writing and avoid multiple Ook, the code is sometimes simplified by removing the Ook. Oh yeah, I suppose you don't really need the Ook, do you? Plus minus. Add to decrypt Ook. I need a sample. We need a sample Ook. So Neil, we'll do some Ook programming soon enough, but I'm quite like this one. Look, this is quite nice. Oh, that's interesting. So you see this right hand window now. I think it's kind of showing you how the programs do run and how they make decisions or move through these things. So the colours and stuff probably define paths within them. Bonkers. I kind of like the idea of making up a programming language. I've made up my own virtual machine which had its own... Actually, it does. I don't know if it counts as a programming language, but I did make my own bytecode assembler for my own virtual machine, which itself is written in C, and you can write all the drivers and things to put it on your own hardware. So I'd like to think that I came up with I'll say a programming language. LOL code. Personal favourite among esoteric languages. They're based off the lolcats phenomenon and uses lolcat syntax to make programs run, or something like that. I like how the person who's written this story is always just a bit there. I didn't really research it. It looks kind of fun. Just looking at a sample of lolcats programming, so why it's a fan favorite. Hi, can I have stdio? Oh, that's awesome. Visible file. Oh no's, invisible error. Okay, bye. The official site lists many different implementations in languages. So it's almost like a meta language, so you can use that within your other language. So yeah, Neil, it's kind of weird, isn't it? It's like Ook is the only command, but if you keep the modifiers are enough. Oh no, there's the lolcode site is taking too long. We have to make that. Shakespeare, yeah, that looks a bit boring-y and longy. Bifunge. Create a language that's difficult to as difficult to compile as possible. Bifunge accomplishes this by two main features of the daunting language: self-modifying. The P instructions can write new instructions into the playfield, and multi-directional. At the same time, in 4 different contexts: in the left to right series of instructions, or right to left, upwards or downwards. Regardless, there are very smart people with way too much free time who can create compilers for Bifunge. So yeah, it's almost like a thought experiment at that point. But I do like the idea of languages that are self-modifying, and it's really cool. If you've ever done any code like that, you should just try it, because it's fun. It's almost like recursive functions too are fun. Remorse, a language intended to look like Morse code. Visions of submarines and telegrams come to mind. The simple yet incredibly challenging language. Here's the Remorse version of Hello World. Let's see what it's trying to do. So I can see WORLD. I like this. The author didn't feel like doing this part. So he just did the world part, exclamation mark. That does look like overly verbose, doesn't it, really? Oh, but that's it here, look, the Morse called alphabet. But anyway, false. With an appropriate negative connotation, false is a language meant to discourage even the cleverest programmers. Based on the fourth language, false uses punctuation-based syntax to help sour the programming experience from the false creator himself. I designed this language with two particular objectives: confusing everyone with an obfuscated syntax and designing as powerful a language as possible with a tiny implementation. In this case, a compiler executable of just 1024 bytes written in pure 68,000 assembler. Okay, so we can run this on the Amiga, Neil, so there's the language for you. Yet false isn't the most ridiculous of these esoteric languages. It could actually serve a real-world purpose. All operations are reasonably sensible, and the language isn't extremely complex. Maybe someday I'll make a useful real-world application out of the language false. Okay. Interesting. So whenever... Okay, I think this one looks more interesting. Some leet speak. There used to be a website... Did you ever go to bash.org, anyone? Because this sort of reminds me of bash.org, which may or may not still exist. In fact, I want to go see bash.org. Bash.org. Yeah, it is. Oh, and it's not secure. Do they not have... They haven't even got a free certificate, SSL certificate for their site. New content. I like this. New content rolling in, and then the last entry was in 2017. So does that mean bash.org is not a thing anymore? That's sad. I was just... Oh, that makes me really sad. I'm guessing people just aren't IRC anymore. So what it would be was just basically snippets from IRC chats that people liked that were sort of funny, and then they would just basically paste them into bash.org to read. But yeah, if you haven't tried it, I'm not going to go through them now because it's a bit nerdy and you need to do some reading. But yeah, if you like mainly computer people speaking to each other and funny things, then go for that one. Sorry, I'm just reading this. There are 10 types of people in the world: those who understand binary and those who don't. That's only 2 types of people. Cow. Stupid. There's a whole Hunter, where the whole Hunter 2 password joke came from. What was the Hunter 2 password joke? Hunter 2. Mike, I don't even know what Core War is. So this is the Hunter 2 password joke, is it? Oh, what, were you actually just... You should try that one. Okay, you should try that one. Why would you even do that? Core War. Core Wars. What? Programming game? Now you're talking. Is that... Can we get Core War in a web browser running? Core War in browser. Oh my word, this seems awesome. So it's basically an assembler for a virtual machine, is it? 2 programs attempt to halt each other by overwriting instructions that are about to be executed. Watch a battle between 2 famous warriors. Chang 1, left in blue, versus Mice, right. Dad joke. I like dad joke. You've got to come up with the syntax for dad joke. So who wants to challenge me one day to a core war? I would definitely be up for having a go at that. Some potential points of confusion. In the original red code, MOV with an immediate A field writes a DAT instruction to the target address. Later version overwrites the B field only by default. Mate, this is bonkers. Arrange the grey squares. They appear from bright to dark. It's going left to right, top to the bottom. Source git repo. So is that actually just a program? X to move. Oh, okay. Feels like war games, doesn't it? Breakthrough. Chess. Oh, is this just like a website that someone's just playing? They've actually just shown you how to do it all. Is it all done in Haskell? Retrotech Ralph, it is easy to understand code. You've done BBC Basic, haven't you? Oh, by the way, everybody who's interested in code, Fuse. I think you could do a lot worse. They do hardware for this, by the way. Look at that, isn't that cute? It runs on most things, like this has got a Raspberry Pi thing here, but Fuse can even run on Android and now Switch. So it's one of those basic programming languages, and I think it's pretty free. We're going to find it here now because we're going to try it. That you can, but it's worth learning because it has compilers and interpreters and whatnot that will run on virtually everything else. So let me do. How do we get it? Basically here, get Fuse. Download Fuse. Fuse for Windows. Oh, it's 120 megs. For whatever reason, it does seem unfeasibly large for what it is. But if you remember, like Stos and Amos, I think pretty much it's the equivalent for you. And if you really want to learn programming, they not only have a pretty good programmer's reference guide, but they also have key stage tutorials, you know, like for schools. So you can just basically learn it the same way that kiddies learn it, which is pretty much the way that you should. But look at this. You see down here, when you load it, well, we'll run it now anyway, but when you load it, it can look like any of those retro systems you liked as well. So you can see there's a Commodore 64 theme, BBC B, Atari 8-bit, etc., etc. And then we're going to go I'm running out of hard disk space again now as well. I've really maxed it out. And the commands in it are pretty much, if you printed out the manual, by the way, it'd feel very much like the BBC Computer Basic manual. And you can just start with that. But then beyond that, you've got some really good other sort of sound and graphics engines. So if you can see programs written in Fuse. Let's see. You need to almost find, I don't know how you're going to find a website that'll actually have the programs though. Games. Games might be a bit better. Make your own Nintendo Switch games with Fuse. I mean, that's pretty much a headline grabbing statement there. Almost there. We're almost there with the installation. Oh, there you go. So Retrotech Ralph, you could just do this. I reckon you'd have easily have the ability to do that. I was almost tempted to click the link to see what's the real reason that Hollywood won't cast David Schwimmer anymore. Not today. Come on, Fuse. The other one as well that's really neat is Pico 8. So have a look for Pico 8 too. Actually, I think I installed Fuse. It's just not done. Oh, here we go. Desktop app. There you go. Look at that. Doesn't it look exactly like a Commodore 64? Load. And you see the way it pops up? Oh, there is demos. Games. Okay. Ah, that looks like asteroids. No. Curse you. That was weird. It doesn't run. Robot? Okay, well, robot kind of ran. Run. This is like... It's like emulating your old systems by not working properly. It seems to me though more of a case of I've got a misconfiguration here somewhere. That kind of sucks, doesn't it? Slide blocks. Come on, run you best. Enter difficulty 1. So you can see it's actually got graphics and see you, Mike. It's actually got graphics and sound going on. I mean, this would have blown you away if you were running this on your BBC Micro or Commodore 64. Was the Blue Peter a train? I thought it was a boat. There we go. You can play with that. Escape. Good. So now we've got something working. Turtle. Oh, it's looking for an image file it can't find. Yeah. I'm trying to think, if this says called Turtle, is that emulating the turtles drawing on the, you know, that you have on the BBC Micro? Oh yeah. List. So we can look at the program. Now, Fuse has a thing. If you want to, you can. If I type help. Is it edit? There you go. So there's a way of bringing the program, so you don't have to edit it inside the sort of retro BBC basic style editor there. You can actually load it into the Fuse editor, and you've got this thing. You have a nice few different colours to choose from, and it does proper code highlighting. You can see it is highlighting the code there correctly. Not sure what I prefer. That's probably okay for now. And that way you can actually just see all the code nice and simply there and edit it, then bring it back in. And so this is the. I almost wonder if some of these codes you could just probably cut and paste into like any old 8-bit machine and have it, you know, do the same sort of thing. What's Trevor Retro Tech Ralph then? Is Trevor oh, and then that's Fuse crashing. Right, well I think I have been rambling on for long enough. It must be nearly, well, over 2.5 hours now, and I only came on to play a few games, and I'm glad though you come and hung with me all this time, and especially you, McBeam, and Robert, and Andrew. I know you're probably having your tea. And yeah, I'll probably see you online again soon. Just to let you know, I've got the BBC Micro videos coming out. Let me check for you actually what's going to be coming out this weekend. Tomorrow's video should be quite interesting if you're into a little bit of gadget electronics, playing with stuff. And we've got yeah, there's going to be a few. Actually, there's no BBC Micro videos, so we're done with those for the moment, it seems. So I'm lying to you, but there will be more Supergun Jammer Board videos coming up too. So see you tomorrow. Bye bye.